So you think maybe you want another dual sport, a big adventure bike so you can get on the road but yet still get off the road. There's really only two bikes that are out there that I would personally buy. I'd either buy this one or this one. Why? We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it on the Rant and Ride.
Look what happened. I woke up with a big old pile of money. Hey, all you KTM guys, come on. I'm Team Warren. Don't think I'm coming down on you. But I, on the other hand, and you on the other hand, and a lot of people on the other hand, so why don't we have a 450? It's a competitor to a lot of bikes.
But here's my thinking. Hey guys, Joe here, 690ADB, 690 Garage, 690ADB.com. Happy Friday. Hope everybody had a great week. I had a pretty good week. It's been kind of good lately. Not too bad. Hey, first things first, let me get it out there. I know that there are a bunch of people. We've been kind of getting overwhelmed with the decals, and I'm okay with that, you know. But they're coming. I know I said that you got to have one order to win when we do finally do our giveaway, but don't sweat it. You just have to be signed up. The decals are coming. I'm going to get them out. Just as long as you sign up, go to the website. It'll be down there. If you're looking at it to the bottom, go over to the right. You'll see it. Say decal form. Fill that out, and you're in. And that's how we'll do the drawing by you being in there. So I just want everybody to understand, you know, you're going to have basically this week, and you're going to have next week, and then we're going to stop for a little while. And but if you're not in, you're not in. You cannot win if you are not signed up when we do some giveaways, and we are going to have one. I'll let you know after next week's video. And I'm going to let everybody know the day that we're going to do it, but it is going to happen in December. Just don't know exactly what day. I'm working that out as we speak. So back on to the rant on what we're talking about. Dual sport adventure bikes, the larger ones, we're talking 1,000cc bikes. You know, do you own one? Do you want one? Do you own like a KLR 650 or a 690 like I have? And are you thinking about maybe a second bike or a third bike? Or I mean, there's no such thing as too many bikes. So if you're thinking about getting a long-range travel bike, or, you know, just a bike that's more comfortable when you're punching down the miles, but still want the off-road ability to get off the beaten path. And I mean really get off the beaten path. I'm not talking, you know, a scree, you know, dirt road or something like that. I mean get out and do it. This 690 is ridiculous. Woo! But I mean get off the beaten path. I mean really, really get off the beaten path. I'm talking like Jeep trails in Colorado, and also getting those miles down. And here is the factor that's going into this rant, because I'm sure I'm going to offend some guys that own some of these bigger bikes. And there's only two bikes that if I was a new rider, or even myself looking to go and buy a bigger bike, 1,000ccs, guys, 1,000ccs. And I don't want to hear, yeah, man, we'll bet out that KTM 990 or some of these older bikes that are out there. You know, I don't. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about bikes that are like today. You can go and pick up some of the newer bikes that are out there and they're hot. Here are the criterias. We're talking adventure traveling. We're not talking ride and go stay in a hotel room, dump all your gear, and then go right up the freaking, you know, the mountain and then come back down. Even if you dump your gear, those bikes are big. They're big, man. We're talking 500 pounds. So I don't know about you, but I've owned a 500-pound bike. And guess what? You know what it feels like? It feels like 500 pounds, actually more than that, when you dump it. So with that being said, you know, we're talking heavy bikes. It's not like this KTM 690 that's, you know, 300, just a little over 300 change. So, but criterias: traveling with gear, riding up and over whatever you're planning on doing with gear, and camping off your bike. Okay, we're talking camping. We're talking real adventure riding. Okay, and there's a lot of guys out there that do it. I'm one of them, and I know you've seen some of my pics of what I do. So I I do it. So, but I've done it both ways. It's a whole lot more enjoyable on this 690. But anyway, so the criteria is, if you dump the bike, can you pick it back up? And I mean pick it back up, not with your buddy or not with your buddies. I'm talking buddy, okay? And if you can pick that bike up, can you really do it by yourself? I mean, that's the reality of it. I've done it before with an F800, not with an 1000cc, but I did an F800 Adventure, and I'll tell you what, I really thought I was not going to be able to do it. It was not fun. So anyway, so can you pick the bike back up by yourself, just in case you get separated, you know, or your buddy's not close by, or something like that, or heck, you might even be traveling alone. I know a lot of guys like to go by themselves. So that's number one. And the other thing is what happens if you get yourself in a situation and you're going up, say, a 20% grade, 30% grade, hell, even a 15% grade, and you're on a one-way road, which I've done, you know, we're talking like, you know, the Jeep passes and some of those mountain passes where it's really wide enough for one car. And but can you turn the bike around? Can you turn the bike around? And can you do it by yourself? Because I'll tell you what, I've never done it by myself. I've helped my buddies do it, and I tell you what, not fun. And it's actually, be quite honest with you, it's mildly terrifying. And those bigger bikes are they're freaky. That's when the adventure really begins. That's why they get the adventure after their deals, because if you take it off-road and you get into some gnarly stuff, and I don't mean like, you know, like the little light stuff. I'm talking gnarly stuff. I'm talking freaking grapefruits. I'm talking baby heads, all of it, man. I mean, you're bouncing and dodging, and you're muscling that bike around. It's not a lot of fun. It's not a lot of fun. So if your feelings get hurt, or if you're not happy, I'll tell you what, if you can tell me how I'm wrong on the bikes that don't make my deal, put it in the comments. Tell me about it, because I'm not buying it, because I had an 800. I didn't have a 12 or an 11 or any of that stuff. And I'll tell you what, I would have much rather had one of these two bikes. So, first bike up on the hit list, and I've never talked about it, and I just think it's gorgeous. I love the look of it. And if I had to spend my money, these would be the two bikes that I would get. I'm going to get into the specs. I'm going to tell you about it, have some pop-ups. So if you're a rider or a new rider and you're thinking about getting a bike, you want a bike that can truly get off the beaten path and do it, these are the two bikes that you want to look into. Number one is going to be the Honda CRF 1000L Africa Twin. And the reason being, A, it's got the look. It's built off that pedigree that Honda built back in the day when they earlier were into the Dakar and type stuff. Now it can't be more than 450cc, so that's why they don't enter anything other than 450cc. But that's is the bike. And the reason that's the bike is I like the setup of it. It's slender. She's skinny. She's really not even that heavy. She's not that heavy. Coming in at 506 pounds wet. That's not bad for a 1000cc bike. And she's got 95 horsepower. 95 horsepower. So plenty of power there for that bike. It's got nice low ends, got nice mids. They built the bike for the off-road, and then they jumped it into the street, whatever, and it's got good manners on the road. So, with that being said, it's got a 4.9 gallon gas tank, so it's got a pretty good range. That's not bad for that bike. I mean, you're talking, you know, almost a 5-gallon tank. I mean, you can go pretty good ways on that. The tire setup is perfect, 2118, just like all the, I mean, the tire selection's fantastic for that, because you can get just tons and tons of really super nice tires, all the way from 90-10s all the way to 50-50s to whatever you want. You can pick those up, and you can outfit that bike with a fantastic tire for whatever you want to do off-road. Fly-by-wire. So it's got the electronic signal that sends from the throttle down to the fuel injector, and it's on this KTM here. I mean, you know what? I didn't know if I'd be a big fan But I like it. The response is really, really nice. And I know there's a lot of guys out there, well, what if it fails, man? Well, go look it up. You don't see a whole lot of people of it ever failing. Seat height, 34 inches. That's pretty nice. I mean, that literally works for a lot of people. Not only that, guess what? They have a low seat option, too. That brings it down to 33.5, and I bet you if you did it just right, you could probably get it even lower than that. So that in itself, for what that bike is, and it has about almost 10 inches of ground clearance underneath. That's pretty good for a bike of that size and that weight. That is really a travel bike that is going to be able to get out and really kind of do it. I mean, you got to understand, take it with a grain of salt. It's never going to basically give a 690 or a 701 or a 500 EXC or an XR 650 a run for its money off-road. But that's not what it was built for. It was really built with a lot of off-road in mind, but it really has those road manners to get you up and down the road. So that bike with an MSRP of $13,500, you know, just under $14,000, that's pretty good. I mean, for that type of bike. Plus, the luggage, all the other stuff that you can get, I mean, is just, I mean, you can get a lot of stuff for that bike. And if I was going to get one, it's got that rally type bike look to it. That's what I'm getting, you know. That's going to be on my list. That's number one. And the other one that's going to pop in there, I'm pretty sure everybody knows which one I'm going to call on. And I'm sorry if the other bikes don't make it. So, you know, if you get upset, well, you know what? Life's short. Get over it, man. It's no big deal. KTM 1090 Adventure R. And the reason the 1090 Adventure R is because I got to see that bike in action last year on Jeep trails, in the desert, in Utah, through Bentonite, all that stuff. And you want to talk about a bike for being a big bike. Now, it didn't quite hang with my 690 on some of the stuff, but overall, man, it did fantastic. I mean, it just did very, very well. A lot better than I thought it would. And we had my bike, an 800 GSA, and a 1090 and a KLR, and I can tell you right now that 1090 did better than all the other bikes except for the 690. And it's only because that this is an enduro bike. It's not a fair fight, especially off-road. But on road, very envious of that bike. 125 horsepower, guys. 125 horsepower. So if you don't know much about the 1090, 125 horsepower that is mappable. And what I mean by mappable, that basically means that there are ride modes for that bike, and you can change it up. Sport mode, enduro mode, and all that stuff. And it changes the characteristics of that bike, and it basically brings the horsepower down if you're off-road. But if you're on the road and you want to get busy, guess what? You can dial it up in sport mode, man. 125 horsepower. It's a 6-speed, fly-by-wire. It's KTM. Do the math. She's skinny, too. She's skinny. But, hey, don't let her fool you. She's tall. She's 35 inches in the seat height. But, you know what? If you had to, you could lower that. I know you could. You know, I think you could get like a low, maybe a seat concept or something like that, and it would probably make that bike just a little bit better. But I mean, on the road, I mean, just did fantastic. I mean, he could blow 100 miles an hour, no problemo. But at 35 inches seat height, that's not bad. And the factory seat is not horrible. It's not horrible. Tire setup, 21-inch, shocker. 18-inch, shocker. So a 21 front, 18 rear on that. You already know what that means. That is the best combination for any bike that wants to go off-road, hands down. Everybody that rides off-road knows that. It's just is what it is. Fuel. 6 gallons of fuel. 6 gallons. That's KLR type fuel. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's crazy. It's a lot of fuel. As far as range goes, I'm going to try to dig in and get you the miles per gallon on both these bikes, put them on screen for you. I'm not real sure, but I mean, both have big tanks, but 6 gallons of fuel, that's going to get you a pretty good ways down the road. Now, the weight of this bike, okay, this is dry weight. I know wet's going to be hovering right at about 500. It's probably going to be maybe just a little bit less than 500. But the dry weight of the KTM 1090 Adventure R, 458 pounds. Man, that's fantastic for a bike with that much power. But you know what? Leave it to KTM. That's what they do, man. That's what they do. They don't follow, they lead. That's how they do it. Just under 10 inches of ground clearance, so it's got pretty good ground and that's all, folks. It's got basically 9.8 of ground clearance, and it's cold, by the way. That's why I'm a little chilly. But anyway, so it's got that amount of clearance, which is nice. So when you're off the road, you can get over those bigger, rock steps and stuff like that, and it's just going to do a really, really good job on that. So, but the MSRP is a little much. I mean, it's just under 15 grand for that bike. Now, do you get $15,000 with that bike? I don't think so, man. And everybody knows I'm a KTM guy. I just think KTM's a little expensive, but KTM doesn't flood the market with motorcycles. That's not their business plan. That's not how they roll. So they don't flood the market like the Japanese do. Japanese, they just sell a crap load of them and get them out there. But that's what it is, and it's supply and demand. And make no mistake, they sell plenty of their bikes. Trust me, they don't have a whole lot of rollover that's basically, you're going in and there's just KTMs that are just sitting with tons and tons of stock, so left over. But I will tell you this. Those two bikes right there, the Honda Africa Twin 1000L and the KTM 1090 Adventure R, I can tell you right now, that's the only two bikes I would put my money down on today if I wanted to go and do some off-road adventure riding. And I mean adventure riding, not just a dirt road, okay? I'm talking going over big rocks, rock steps, and stuff like that. So, if you can think of a bike that I didn't put on there, put it in the comments. Tell me. But those are the two that really capture me, and I've seen them live, and they're really fantastic bikes. I mean, they really, really. There's a reason why they're probably the two best in the market today. So, but anyway, the bikes that didn't make it, and I'm so sorry, and there's nothing you can say or do, and we're talking 1,000 cc's. None of the BMWs made it. They're just too big and too piggy. And Aprilia, nope, nothing in there. Ducati, nope, nothing in there. I just don't see anything. Harley, we got that crazy one coming out. No way would I try anything on any of those bikes on that off-road. It's just too much. So, but anyway, it's getting a little late. And I tell you what, you guys have a fantastic weekend. Have yourself a cold beer or a Coca-Cola, whatever it is that you do. Enjoy yourself. My name's Joe. Don't forget to sign up. Don't forget to subscribe. Do not forget to give us a thumbs up. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys have a fantastic weekend. And it's 690. We love you. 690 out.